Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, I gotta say that this episode was pretty good. Here's the thing. When the episodes are bad, I call it out. Okay? I know some people say that, not every day an episode could be good, but I feel like we've been conditioned to just kind of accept the norm. I made a live stream about it. And I may actually one day soon, maybe, make a separate video about it. How average became the norm. When it's an average episode, I will call it out. When it's a bad episode, I will call it out. And when it's a good episode, I will call it out. That's just how I've always been. How I've always been, and that's how it will always be. I know some people consider that to be very harsh, but that's just. I'm not gonna sit there and sugarcoat it. But with that being said, what do I start off with first? You know what? Here's the thing. Eric and Nicole are both trash. Okay, I know some people think, oh, I love Eric and Nicole, I love them together, and yeah, that's great. And I'm not knocking y'all, but I look at what they did, and what they did was pretty trash. Okay? It was trash, point blank. And now Rafe is, how do I sit there and put it? He's acting like a dick. Okay? So he comes up to Eric and he's like, hey, here's Nicole's laptop, this, that, and the third. And of course, Eric is like, Nicole's not here. So they go back and forth for a little bit. And Eric tells Rafe that Jade is pregnant. So he's just like, oof, that just messes up your little plan, right? They go back and forth some more. And of course, Eric is like, I'm sorry. It's like, bro, just stop with that. Don't, at this point, saying I'm sorry is just the last thing that they want to hear. Okay, it's the same thing with Chance and Devon. Devon, just stop. Okay? So Jada comes in, and they get to talking, and of course, Rafe is like, hey, because Jada's like, yo, I want to move out now. I'll go somewhere, I'll figure it out. So let me just go. Because at this point, she's like, I want no parts of you. I want no parts of you. And, Rafe was like, hey, listen, I'll go up there with you. I don't want you to be lifting heavy things. And of course, at this point, she turns around. She's pissed at Eric. She's like, yo, how you going to sit there and just tell him, what's going on with me? Like, on my body and everything like that. What's the matter with you? So they get into it. Rafe is like, no, listen, I'm here if you need me. And he just takes off. So they talk. They're getting to talking. And, at this point, Eric is like, listen, I'm sorry for what I did. But, whatever you decide, I'm going to support you. Of course, Jada's taken back by because he used to be a priest, and he didn't expect my body. Well, she didn't expect the my body, my choice thing. Coming from him. But she's like, listen, I'm not going to judge. I'm not a priest anymore. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. I'll support you either way, but just let you know I always wanted a child. So of course, at this point, Jada's like, was that gonna, how's that gonna affect Nicole? Like how Nicole's gonna feel about it. You being such an active role and how she's gonna feel about that. Which in all reality, I find that to be pretty nice of her to say because to be honest, how Nicole feels is it's a non-factor. In reality, the hell with how Nicole feels. He said he wants to step up emotionally, financially, and that's what he's gonna do, and that's just how it is. How Nicole feels is the least the amount of important thing in the world. And yeah, I saw the previews where Nicole is confronting Jada like the piece of scum that she is, saying, "Well, how could you possibly want a baby? How could you possibly want to be tied to him with everything that's going on?" And oof. For her to sit there and say that to another woman is just on a whole new scale of low life. Now, speaking of Nicole and Brady, they get to talking, and of course, Nicole's like, listen, I deserve this. I blew up, EJ's marriage, and I blew up Rafe's, his relationship with Ava. I this is what I deserve. And I'm like, yeah, you do. I was like, yeah, you do. You deserve all of that. It's called karma. You deserve all that. But of course, Brady being Brady's like, no, you don't. And this, and that's that. And trying to make excuses for her sloppy behavior. Because that's what they are, just sloppy behavior. So it gets her to feel better. And of course, they hug. And Rafe was like, what's going on? Came here to drop your laptop. I thought you was at Eric's place. Um, and of course, he says something as far as the hug with Brady, and then Nicole's like, "Yo, listen, you just there, just being a good friend, trying to help me out, make me feel better." And at this point, now you're seeing the other flip side of Rafe. You know, Rafe is an interesting character to me. He can come across as very, you know, do right and protective and supportive and everything like that. But now when he gets mad, now don't get me wrong. I'm not giving this guy a free pass. I understand that he's angry, he's hurt, and he said some things to Nicole. I was like, wow. I mean, I know that you're angry or hurt, but when you start saying things like, just don't come crawling back to me when the whole thing with Eric doesn't work out. Don't come crawling back to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. What Nicole did was wrong, and she's trash for that. Okay? I'm not listening to, I mean, here's the thing. This is a soap opera, right? So I expect people to sit there and get down in the mud. So from a soap opera standpoint, this is some juicy soap. This is what you expect. You don't expect him to sit there and, you know what, Rafe, be the better person. She's clearly trash and she doesn't deserve you. Be the better person. But not everyone's able to turn the other cheek. Not everyone's able to be the better person. So in reality, this is befitting of a situation like this. Now, while that's going on, Gabby's sitting there acting like a 12-year-old child. Um, and Chloe comes in there, and Gabby's like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "Gabby, you don't run this company. Whatever she does here is her business, idiot. Like, what do you mean? What is she doing here?" They get to talking, and Stefan eventually lets Gabby know, like, "Hey, they're a thing." And of course, she gets all stupid jealous and everything. I'm like, "Boo, aren't you about to sit there and marry Shen? Why do you care if she's moving on too fast or y'all just doing it too soon or whatever? Like, why does that matter to you for?" And of course, Stefan isn't any better in the situation. Because you got your girl like right next to you, using it there, getting upset because it's too soon and it's New Year's Day and everything like that. I was like, bro, shut your mouth. My reality, as much as I don't like Chloe and her personality, Chloe, and I do want to express how much I don't like Chloe. Chloe, Chloe looks so much better than Gabby. Okay, there's not even like, I mean, Chloe's up here, and Gabby, move it up a little bit. Uh, yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that's about right. That's what they are as far as the looks department. Um, I'm like, bro, you're. But then I sit there and I look at that personality, and I was just like, man, in a way, they're kind of both trash. I mean, they are, they are. I was like, Gabby's immature, and Chloe is just, well, she's just disrespectful after a while. You don't believe me? Look at the stuff with Philip. As far as looks go, you're already, you're already ahead. You might as well just stop. So when she leaves, Gabby, I mean, Chloe's like, yo, you sure you're over her? Because you seem like you were mighty jealous. But of course, he convinces her and he kisses her, and that pretty much kind of, I guess, ends her doubt. Even Jada did sit there and say that she knew that Eric should have feelings for Nicole, but she was into now. She was into now. Now, granted, that does not absolve Eric from being, well, trash, but she did sit there and admit, like, I kind of saw something. Oh, and I almost forgot. Little spy thing that they're doing. Shen is not there looking for Wendy and finds out from the IT department that she's in Jakaris or some place in Alaska. He's talking to Kristen about, Wendy and her being curious and even try to warn Roth. Like, hey, listen, you may have some company coming. So he's nervous and he's like, oh, we're both gonna sit there and get in trouble for this or whatever if Wendy discovers it. And Kristen's like, you mean wait? There's no way. What are you talking about? Listen, at the end of this, I already got what I want. Okay, so whatever happens at that point, that's on you. I'm good. I'm golden. Of course, you saw the preview, so we all know that it's gonna be that's gonna be something entirely different. But now you got Johnny and Wendy, and after their little 5 or 10 minutes or way too long flirtation scene, Wendy decides to pay a visit to Roth. Now she's mic'd up and everything like that, and walks in, and at first Roth is like, "Yo, who are you?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm Jay Wynn." Which honestly, to tell you the truth, Jay Wynn is actually a really nicer name than Wendy. Don't get me wrong, I love a good Wendy. Never actually dated one, but I love a good Wendy as far as the name goes. But Jay Wynn is actually nice. It's actually really nice. Why did they actually call her Wendy? Just call her Jay Wynn. Like it's not a hard and complicated name. Anyway, they get to talking, and she's trying to get him to admit that he brainwashed Stefan. At first, he's like, "Oh, what are you talking about? What is this brainwashing nonsense? Where do you get that from?" But of course, she's like, "Listen, me and my brother, we tell each other everything. Okay, you know about what you did. He thanks you." And so he does actually admit, it's like, "Yeah, well, no problem. It wasn't really that difficult or whatever." But she's walking past, I guess, like a receiver or something, and it jams. It jams on the signal. Jams the signal. So now, all she, because at this point he goes over and he checks her. So now he's like, "Yo, listen, you're wired, everything like that." So she calls out the hidden word or whatever. I think it's black though. So 1 second. Sorry about that. I had to sit there and put up my post because I'm gonna be going live today. Well, tonight. And I know I've been going live for like the past, well, I think since last week, 5 days a week, but just in case people might have forgot or whatever. And I like to sit there and make sure I put out a post to let people know. So anyway, now she's now she's backing towards the door and she calls out the word black belt. So Johnny's sitting there trying to get in there. Johnny tries to get in there. He eventually breaks down the door. He sees Wendy on the ground. And he's Wendy on the ground, right? He goes to check on her, make sure she's okay. I just don't understand how y'all just letting this geriatric old man that's like, what, in his 80s, get the upper hand on both of y'all. Why do y'all keep... hmm. I'm like, yo, listen, y'all need to sit there and stop underestimating people that are older than y'all. Because, he walks in there and he tries to make sure she's okay. Then this dude comes in out of nowhere and just like stabs him with a syringe. So now they got both of them. What's he gonna do? Well, I think he's just gonna use this little forget serum or whatever, like he did with Gabby, which is kind of like a get out of free jail card in a sense of like if you weren't dealing with a scientist, how would you sit there and write it? Because the scientist could be like, "Hey, oh, Gabby knows my secret. Boop. Gabby knows nothing now." Oh, Johnny and I just forgot her name. I just said her name too, and I forgot it. Now I got to call her Wendy again. But now it's just Johnny and Wendy. It's like beep beep. Now you forgot. It just seems so much like an easy plot device as far as them using it just to kind of like get themselves out of a corner. Because in reality, if they weren't dealing with a scientist, they would just be dealing with a gunman. Then you would just have two hostages. But they're gonna probably come back there and be like, "Oh, what happened?" Be like, anyway, I feel like that's about it for the most part. I can't really think of anything else. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe, and I'll see you in the next video.